Welcome to Morning Glory Farmstead. My name is Lolly, and this channel is all about gardening, animals, and nature.
Good morning. Good morning, Toby. Good morning, farmer.
Girls, come on. Y'all, there is nothing like watermelon for these chickens when it is hot as blazes. It's been 100 degrees or so, and this watermelon is cold out of the fridge. I always leave just a little bit in there, and I keep it cold, and it is such a treat for all of them. And y'all, look, it's Silky. She's looking a little crazy with her feathers and hair there, but she's been broody for like 6 weeks, y'all. She doubled up on it, so I'm so glad to see her out of there. Alright guys, I am getting a new addition to the farmstead very soon. I'm not going to give you any clues as to what it is. It is something that will change my lifestyle around here a little bit. It'll be something new that I've never done before, and I want to see if you guys can guess what it is. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just leave some comments below if you want to try to guess what the new addition to my farmstead is going to be. Hey, Runner. Did you eat a Japanese beetle too? Did you see him out there out front? Those chickens out front are going to eat them all. You got to go get some. You got to show the girls where they are. No, they're not down there. Not down there. Y'all, that's what the roos do. They peck on the ground whenever they find something to show all the girls where it is, so they'll come running and they start making a noise. All right, y'all, get your good eyeballs on. Can you see this? I've got thousands of Japanese beetles that come every year, and they're flying all above the grass. And y'all, this makes for some good chicken aerobics. If you want your chickens to be healthy, let them out when those Japanese beetles are around. Look at that. This went on all day long. Y'all, they're like kids. They work out really hard during the day and play, and then they sleep really good at night. I can't even imagine. And it's hot. It is extremely hot. I couldn't believe they were just staying out in the open like that. And y'all, they do eat them. They peck at them, and those shells are really hard. I can't even believe that they can eat them. talked about this in my other videos. This is one of my favorite things about living out here is all the equipment, the tractors and the trucks. I love watching those work. Y'all, he's flying. Usually they're like so slow they're blocking all the traffic. I had to follow him pretty quick with my camera. And here comes another one. This was later in the day, and I was so excited to see this truck until about 15 minutes later. Y'all, that was manure, and it smelled like it. The whole area stunk for hours. And we're getting Old Faithful worked on again, having some new blades and a new belt put on again. Pops was hanging out just to make sure it got done. Glad to see that was working again. Y'all, this grass gets so high so fast. Just letting the dogs out for a few minutes to run around before we start mowing. And plus, it's going to be so hot, they're going to have to come inside. They're just like kids, y'all. Got to get that energy out. Now, I've had some broody chickens, and y'all, the real feel got up to 110. We had some excruciating days. These chickens were about to have heat strokes. I've got the coops completely opened up as long as the sun isn't shining in. I've got the doors open, the back off, even the side where the nesting box is off if it's not angled towards the sun right now, because these girls are having a hard time. This one right here, that's the first time that she sat down in almost 2 days. She was standing up, panting. I actually put water in the nesting boxes just to make sure that the ones were broody had water that was easily accessible, and it has just been something else. All right, y'all, check this out. And there's actually an Easter egger behind her under there. That is Silky and another black Australorp behind her. And Silky was sitting on this egg. Look at how she's breathing. It is hot, you guys. Way too hot for these girls. I'm just doing everything I can to make sure they don't die of some kind of heat stroke. Guys, it's so hot that I have to keep my camera and myself in the shade, but I have some great footage to show you. I have a lot to share, so grab a cup of coffee or tea, whatever your beverage of choice is, and let's get into this. The last few weeks have been intense, sad, exciting, and just filled with a lot of unknowns and opportunities for learning. Now, I've had chickens for about 8 years now, and over the last 6 months or so, I've really been debating on whether or not to hatch my own chicks. I don't need hens, you guys, at this point in my life, although I have been wanting some more bantam chickens simply to keep Pigeon and Silky company. I love them both dearly, you guys, but I had no idea I was getting them or the roosters that I got when I bought the straight run chickens. Now, Pigeon is the one y'all see at the chicken window all the time eating grapes, and Silky is my only Silky and gets pecked on all the time because she's small and she can't see above her head or where the other chickens are coming from because of all of her hair. So because chickens are social, I've been wanting to create a separate place for Silky and Pigeon, but add more bantam family members as well. Well, when I was at the feed store this past weekend, they just happened to have some straight run bantams. So I got 4. I have no idea if they're roosters or hens. I got 2 Silkies for sure. That's going to make 6 bantams total, which is great because I can use one of the coops that I already have. Now, if you guys are curious about the coops I use, I did a review on the Omlet egg glue. Now, I am an affiliate, so if you use my link, you're going to get a discount. Now, as far as my larger chicken breeds go, I have 4, but only 1 hen is an Easter egger because when I bought the Easter eggers, I got 3 roosters and only 1 hen. So the 2 roosters that I still have are Rubos and Runner. Y'all see those in the videos. Now, at some point, chickens get old and retire, and I was thinking about, what would I do if I needed more chicks? Now, you can always try to buy some, but things are getting a little bit harder to come by. At the local stores, they're selling out way faster than they used to. They don't get as many breeds in as they used to, and even some of the hatcheries where you can order things online, well, they've been sold out. So since I have 4 or 5 broody chickens, I figured I'd let them do their thing. And I just kind of see what happens, let nature take its course without having to buy an incubator and a grow out pit or anything like that, and just see how it goes. So I let the girls do their thing. But if you guys recall, in one of my other videos, I said that, the broody chickens will actually take fresh eggs and swipe them underneath them. And so you start to lose count of the eggs unless you've marked them. And so what happened was I ended up with a lot of eggs under each of these chickens. So one of the things that I learned was not to let them have too many eggs underneath, because as much as they try to be gentle, and usually are, when they're sitting on top of them, sometimes other chickens will come in there to lay their eggs and they kind of start shoving their way in there. And sometimes an egg gets stepped on, and then that terminates the process. And you guys, I actually saw that happen a few times in some different coops, and it really made me sad. You guys know I'm a complete animal and creature lover. I'm really empathetic. I've talked about it. I care about even the tiniest creatures. And so the whole let nature do its thing is really hard for me. And I felt like if I had known that that was going to happen, that they were going to step on them and break them, I could have prevented that by just being a little bit more vigilant about taking some of those eggs out. Now, the other thing that started happening, which was not in my control, was that the heat started to skyrocket and the real feel got up to 110. It was 96% humidity outside and there was no breeze. Now you've got these chickens in there that really want to sit on these eggs because, you guys, once they go broody, they really do not want to stop unless it's absolutely necessary for that full 21 days, okay? They may get up once a day to go get food or water during the day, but that's it. So they were sitting on the eggs with it feeling like 110. But y'all, when they were inside the coop, it was even hotter. And then you have to understand that these hens produce a lot of heat. And so the eggs underneath them were even hotter than the chickens, y'all. And they can only survive up to a certain temp. If it gets too high or too low, the process of development is going to stop. So some of the eggs literally started exploding. And again, you guys, this was so sad to see. And not only that, some of the hens were so hot for a few days that they decided they didn't want to sit on the eggs anymore. Oh my gosh. Now I've got all these eggs with chicks in them with intermittent sitting. Like I said, the process of development will stop if the temps get too high, too low, and when the chicken gets up, that temperature drops. So now I'm sitting here thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with all of these chicks? They're trying to survive this heat. And y'all, I really don't want to let nature take its course in this way. That heat was unexpected. So I called Dad and asked him if he would go to the store and pick up an incubator, and they had one. And so he brought it here. I gathered as many eggs as I could. I candled them to see if they were still alive. And then I put them in the incubator in the bathroom. Woo, y'all, it is hot out here. Now this incubator presents a whole nother set of concerns, y'all, because the incubator that I have is made to complete a 21-day process where they've all started the same day, okay? So it's got the egg turners in there. And then as soon as an egg starts hatching, you're supposed to increase the ventilation, increase the humidity, and take the egg turner out. So now we're running into the problem of, if I have an egg that hatches, what's going to happen to the rest of them that aren't as far along? So you can see how this is creating the biggest hatching mess. So you know what I did when I saw the first chick survive the hatching process? By the way, I named it Miracle. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy. I literally took all of the eggs out again, and I ran outside to try to find some chickens to sit on those eggs, because I couldn't change the temperature and humidity for those and keep the other one in there that was going to hatch. Okay, so there's a totally different process depending on the stage that they're in. So once a chick would hatch, I would leave it in the incubator for about 24 hours. And once it was done fluffing and drying and all those things, I would take it out, put it with the bantam chickens in the little swimming pool that I have, and I would run and get those other eggs and put them back in the incubator again. And I would candle them to make sure that the heat hadn't killed them, because y'all, you don't want to put rotten eggs or eggs in there where the chick has already died, because that can cause a whole nother issue with bacteria and things exploding inside the incubator and damaging the ones that are still healthy, and we don't want that. So it was a complete process, you guys, of back and forth. I felt like the crazy chicken lady. Y'all, I know I'm the cat and dog lady, but I am officially the chicken lady. Y'all, I know some people would have said, gosh, just let nature take its course. But y'all, I didn't want to do that just because of the heat. I wanted to see if there was any that I could save. So I just went back and forth these last couple of weeks. Y'all, I violated every single rule that there was as far as what you're supposed to do and not supposed to do with the incubator. You're not supposed to be opening it. You're not supposed to be consistently candling all of the eggs, because that changes the temperature. It changes the humidity every time you open it. But again, this was such a weird situation of going back and forth between the chickens in that extreme heat, back to the incubator. I really wanted to make sure that I was putting healthy chicks back in there. So, but y'all, even with all that craziness, let me show you what's going on right now and how far we've come over the last couple of weeks. Okay, so this is a chick that I named Miracle. She was the first one that hatched in the incubator. I had the egg tray in there. All the eggs were rotating. And the directions say that once a chick starts to hatch, you want to remove the egg tray and just place them on this grid that's on the bottom. Well, I needed to run an errand, and so me and my granddaughter left. We checked the eggs first to make sure nothing was cracking open, and then we ran the errand and we came back, and 30 minutes later, she was already out. Y'all, she blew through that shell, and it usually takes a while, and so she was laying in the egg tray all kind of twisted, weird, and whatever. So we just kind of called her Miracle because she made it even though she wasn't there on the grid. So she is doing fine, and here she is where she's almost dry all the way. You can still tell her back is a little bit damp. With all the humidity in there, it takes a little bit longer to dry, but you can see she is starting to fluff up. And as soon as she does, she's going to go in the baby pool with all of the bantam chickens so that she can have some buddies. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't sure that this was going to work at all, but it wasn't very long before we had another one hatch, and so she went in there and kept Miracle company, and she got pecked on a little bit by Miracle, but then they worked it out, and she is just beautiful. So this is kind of hard to see, but they're both in there now with the bantams because they are completely dry and fluffy, and now they're going to stay under the heat. And I'm going to see if any more eggs hatch. So y'all, in total, I've had 9 that have hatched that have gone back and forth between the chickens and the incubator. So I think those are darn good results. And I'm about to show you 4 of the chicks that hatched. And the last one, I had to help out a little bit, and I wasn't going to. I was trying to let nature do its thing, but y'all, it was struggling, and I was watching it, and I think the nurse in me just decided that I had to step in, so I loosened up the shell after a very long struggle for that little chick because I didn't want to lose her. She was starting to breathe funny, and she is out and about and doing well now. Y'all, I can't even tell you how much I've learned and how much I've researched, and I have a newfound appreciation for these chicks. It's one thing to go buy them at the store and just pick them up for a few bucks. It's another thing to nurture them and help them stay alive through this process. I learned that the last 3 days of the 21-day cycle is when a lot can go wrong, and so you don't know what's going to happen until they are hatched out of that egg. Now, for those of you who have a short attention span, I have really shortened this process by many, many hours. By the time you get to the point where you see what you're seeing on this video, there's a lot of hard work that's already been done inside the egg. Now that noise that you hear throughout the process is going to be the incubator making that humming sound. And you may hear me also tap 3 times, but that encourages them to come out, and y'all are probably going to hear my granddaughter as well because she was with me for this. Y'all, this takes all of their energy, and sometimes they'll lay there like they're dead. They'll move for a minute, and then it looks like they have narcolepsy, like they just fall over and go to sleep, and they are absolutely wiped out at this point. And you'll see that the first few days as well while they're growing. They'll move around, and all of a sudden they start leaning forward like they're going to fall over their head, and they just go to sleep. Now she's going to be stuck to that egg just a little bit until she moves around, and then it's going to fall off really quickly and she'll be good to go.
Good Good job. You did it. You're almost totally free. You just stuck a little bit. What a good job. You're a good hatcher. Yes. Yes. Good job. Yes, look at you. You're just beautiful. You're just beautiful. Welcome. You're going to meet your new family in a couple days. Good job. Good job. Yes, you did it.
All right, guys, let's move on to number 2. It is amazing how you get to know the details and health and any issues that these chicks have when you're watching them like this when they're born on your own property as opposed to going to the store and getting them. And if they stay like they are, the ones that have hatched, I'm going to be able to name all 13 of the new ones. So I am still in the medium flock range. Look at that. Just beautiful. Look at those big, beautiful eyes. I love that. Now, I'm still in the medium flock range is what I was saying. A small flock is like 20 or less, and a medium flock is up to 100. So adding these 13 between the bantams and these new babies still keeps me in that medium range. I definitely don't need to have a larger flock than that. And I'm very interested to see if any of these 13 new ones are going to be roosters as well. Oh my goodness.
You did it. You did it.
Oh, they're so cute.
Welcome to your new home.
She's gonna have so many friends.
I'm pretty sure my new silkies are females because of their wings, but we'll see if that's true.
So now she'll stay in until tomorrow around the same time.
Really?
I'll let her out in the morning like I did this other one if she looks dry enough.
Okay. So basically 24 hours.
I just saw another peck
Oh my.
and the cracks are getting bigger. If you look up on there really good, you can see like it's all
Oh
over.
my. Oh
That's
yeah.
just going to be very short time now before she busts through that hole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. Come on.
Oh my. You know.
Now, having the other chicks inside the incubator while the other eggs are hatching is actually a good thing. All of their little noises and movements against the egg and helping peck the shell actually help the chick get out a little bit better, and it really keeps encouraging them. So I'm going to let her peck at this. I mean, obviously, this chick is trying to get out, so we're good to go. She's going to help. If it looks a little blurry at times, it's because of the humidity inside the incubator.
Okay. Okay, you help her out. You let her know it's okay to come out, okay? You let her know. Say, come on. Let her know. It's a good place to be.
Y'all, you can't tell at this stage when they're really wet and they're fluffing out, but I am telling you, because the roosters were Easter eggers and my hens were either Australorps, sex links, ISAs, or Easter eggers, I am getting some really beautiful markings on these chicks once they're dry.
definitely a yellow.
Really?
Y'all, when I saw this one, I thought, oh gosh, it might be a little bit too early, you know, because sometimes they'll hatch early and there's nothing you can do about it. But now that she's fluffed out and she's in the pool with everybody else, she is looking beautiful and she is acting like she's perfectly fine. I think the dynamics between the chicks and how they comfort each other at this age is absolutely adorable. Now, I know later on as they get older, they're going to have to establish a pecking order, and that's going to be for the silkies that I have. And if I decide to mix any of these with the older flock, they'll have to reestablish a pecking order with them as well. But I've got at least 4 months before we have to do that. She's moving and flailing all over the place. Come on. See if she can do it. She was trying. Okay, there we go. All right, I added this footage in here because I wanted you to see her when she was getting a little bit drier. She's really looking good. You can see how their heads just fall over and they kind of just go to sleep. Y'all look at her face in this shot. That is so cute. She's looking up at me. That was so cute. All right, let's move on to number 4. This is the last one that I recorded for you guys. And this one's not as great because I had to help her. This is the one that I said was struggling for a really long time. She started looking like she was gasping for air and it was just getting a little scary. So I took some clean tweezers and just kind of very gently pulled on the shell and the membrane in a way that wasn't going to rip anything that might be attached to her. You have to be super careful. I don't recommend that you guys do this. This was just what I did. Probably the nurse in me felt like I had to step in and help her out. So here we go with that one. So I encouraged her as much as I could with the tapping, and she was really trying. I had already taken the tweezers here just to give her a little bit more room. You can see kind of halfway down that the shell is removed. There's still a little bit of membrane, but she is just not making her way out very well. So I'm going to give her a second, and then I'm going to help her a little bit more. You know, I did a lot of research, and I saw that there were some people who had had chickens for years who said they've helped every single egg that they've ever had, and they've never had problems with it. I wouldn't do that. But I feel like in this instance, with her struggling so bad, that I wanted to help. And then I've also heard people say, oh, don't ever interfere. If they die, they die. That's just the way it is. But it's just not my nature to do that. If she's struggling and I can help her get out, I'm going to. And I'm trying to work fast here and be delicate. You know, I'm trying to have a light hand so that I don't hurt her at all. But I also want to keep the lid on so that she doesn't get chilled, because that could be a huge problem too. All right, so we did it. I'm going to get this closed up really fast and let her stay warm. She's so tiny and exhausted, I'm sure. That was a very long time for her. So she was actually born today, which is the day I'm putting the video out. She was born this morning, and now here she is just a few minutes ago. I just ran in to get some different footage so you guys can see what she's looking like now. Again, it's a little bit foggy because of the humidity, but she is looking good.
Hi.
Now, I actually missed this one being born, okay? So I came in the morning, and there she was, and she has curled toes. She was walking on the side of her right foot. You can kind of see how it looks there. And I tried to fix it myself, which was almost impossible. So I had to call my daughter to come over, and we made her a little boot. So I did some research about it, and their bones aren't fully set until a couple days. So you can see here, we're kind of holding her up so you can see that's her good foot, and this one's a little bit curled up, and she walks on the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this band-aid underneath and kind of just splay out her toes, and then we'll put another piece on the top, which is kind of going to make it a boot, and that way she can walk around. And I'm going to name her Bootsy. And currently she has adjusted and is running around in the pool with everybody else with her boot on. So these chicks have been born over the last several days, and I just wanted to give you some footage here. I have their waterer on top of a plate because they're constantly putting the pine shavings in there. So I elevated it so that it's not just full of pine shavings. And then they have two different feeders because they're constantly getting shavings in the one round feeder. So I put this long one in there, and they absolutely love it. They climb all over it, they perch on it, they play hide and seek from each other on it. It is so funny to watch their antics in there. But I just wanted to give you an update now that they're all out and about, except for the one that was born today. So the bantams are actually in there with all of the ones that have hatched. The lighting looks a little bit weird because they're being kept warm while they're in there. Now their names are going to be based on coffee, maybe dessert, and dairy products, which are my absolute favorite foods. And coffee is my favorite drink. I've already come up with several names in my mind. And although you can't really tell in this lighting, most of them have markings so that I can tell them apart. Even these little yellow ones have very, very light brown running through them. So one of them is going to be streusel, and one of them is going to be coffee cake. And I have other ones, and we'll talk about that as they get a little bit bigger so you guys can actually meet each one of them. Now I might as well go ahead and introduce Miracle right there. She's the large yellow one. She or he, not sure. I think it's a girl, but not positive. That was the firstborn. You can see how much bigger she is than that little tiny black bantam next to her. She's easy to tell apart because she's bigger than all of them. All right, y'all, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing the new chicks hatch. I'll see you real soon in the next video, and until then, y'all have a great couple of days. Bye-bye.